All right, so we're going to talk to you guys today about my internship with Coastal Carolina Athletics, what to expect from a future intern, and the opportunities that I was presented. So number one, obviously in front of me, athletics, right? You're going to be working with sports, you're going to be working the games, setup during the games, the operational side of things. And I'm going to kind of get into each sport and, the opportunities and, what I was assigned to do and what was presented to me. Number one, I'm big into women's sports, I think. I want to work in the WNBA. I think there's a lot of opportunities there, and you get, in the winter or the fall semester, you get the opportunity of working with volleyball and women's basketball, and I think it's a very valuable thing to work in, not only because women's sports is growing, but because it's a market that a lot of jobs are going to be presented to you, and to get the hands-on experience with that, was very, very nice, and I appreciate that, but also what it entailed. So for women's basketball and men's basketball, your job's going to be to basically keep the game going with the mopping the floor. So, like, for example, transition comes your way, player falls down, they get up, they go the opposite way, you get up, you wipe the floor. Timeout, you wipe the floor, right? You're assigned with doing, floor duties, clean duties. It's nothing too, difficult or presented as difficult, but it is very, opportunity based, and you get to be, courtside at a D1 athletic game and operationally working it. So the opportunity is still there to learn something and, gain that experience, and be close with the field and try and make connections as well. And then for volleyball, same kind of concept, with you're just helping the, operational game flow, of presenting the server with the ball that you have. Obviously, there's a ball in the game ball rotation between you and two other coworkers, and then you make sure that the ball's presented to the server at all times, and it keeps the game flow going. It helps the athletes be in a consistent rhythm in terms of things, and so really all we're here to do is guide the athlete and also be on the operational and learn ourselves more about that side of the field. And then for football, last but not least, probably the one these people most excited about because it is Coastal's main attraction. Your main goal here is just going to be prioritizing with cleanup after the event, but also just working the field goal nets. Like I said, operational stuff keeps the game going. Again, not very hard work or very detail oriented work. It's just something to garner that experience and also help the flow of the game. And you're still an important factor of it. You may go unnoticed, but like I said, it's as easy as when the field goal goes up, net goes up, down. It just keeps the flow of the game going. Obviously, you're going to return the balls to whether our equipment staff or their equipment staff, and then you're just going to watch out for anything obscene. Obviously, your job is to just uphold the operational standard of the athletic events, but also my boss ran on the field and tackled the guy who was the streaker last game or a few games ago, right? So like that's like your job as well. Like you're keeping the facility safe, and you kind of just have an all around job, especially the football events that are a lot of people are at, and highly crowded areas. And then otherwise than that, you're gonna have be assigned random things with sports and entails in that field. So for example, our last women's basketball game, I was pulled aside to go fold 200 towels that JMU used, right, that we dried. So like, for example, the university provides the opposing football teams with towels, reusable towels that they can use, and we are tasked with folding over 200 and 250 of those towels. So again, little thing, but it's part of the experience, right? Towels have to be washed, they have to be folded. And then your other main thing you're going to be doing, I think, in the most hands-on experience, is going to be setting up for the pre-event of the game, or just post-event, making sure that you're ready for what's next. So for example, indoor sports, we have to set up basketball practice, and that is going to be pulling baskets, like hoops, 3 or 4 you and the coworkers pulling baskets and lining them up on the floor so that they can practice, right? You're also going to set up volleyball practice. You're also going to push the bleachers back. You're also going to hand and one by one remove each railing, right, so that they can practice for the sports and push things back. So you're really just working on like the facility and just the operations of things. Like I said, none of the work that I did or the future interns will do is hard or anything that you can't do or anything out of your way. It's just, it is time consuming. It's a lot. It's a long days, and it's being interested in the sport that's in front of you. Like I said, for football, you're there for almost potentially 7-8 hours a day, but also during the game you're watching a game for 3 hours, and your job and balls on the opposite side of the field really is to just be there and be aware of your surroundings. So you gotta like football, right? You gotta be able to watch football. You gotta be able you gotta be able to sit through weather conditions, right? When we had a football game, UL Monroe, it was cold and it rained, and everyone left but us, right? Like you have to be there and you have to be on the field, and yeah. So it is not, like I said, it's not work that is impossible. It's not work that is very hard for anybody to do. But like I said, it was something that I was appreciative of and presented with the opportunity to do, and I learned a lot about the intricacies of events and how they're planned and how they're not just thrown together. Like these are something that are planned all week. Me and other coworkers alike show up hours early to make sure it's ran properly. So our job is very important, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity for my 60-hour internship.